If you suffer from neck pain, especially pain at the base of the head, and maybe you get frequent dizziness and headaches, guess what? You may be having what's called cervicogenic dizziness or cervicogenic headaches. If you've been to the vestibular therapist and the rapid eye head exercises made you sick, you've had tons of Epley maneuvers, and you're still feeling terrible, guess what? In this video, I'm going to coach you through a 7-day Cervicogenic Relief Challenge. I'm going to show you what to do each day. These are research-proven things to decrease your dizziness for the short run and for the long run. Let's start your Cervicogenic Challenge right now. Welcome to day 1 of our 7-day Cervicogenic Relief Challenge, where we're going to tackle dizziness and headaches at the source, the cervical spine. Cervicogenic dizziness is caused by dysfunction in the upper neck, especially where the head and spine meet. This area is packed with proprioceptors, tiny sensors that tell your brain where your head is in space. When those sensors are off from poor posture, whiplash, injury, or weakness, it can confuse your balance system and cause dizziness. The symptoms are tricky. You may not feel like the room is spinning like true vertigo, but more like lightheadedness, unsteadiness, feeling off balance, especially when you're turning your head, brain fog, or pressure behind the eyes. And here's the kicker. Your MRI might look normal. Your X-ray might look normal. That's because it's not a bone or disc problem. It's a neuromuscular control issue. And the good news is, it's fixable. For ruling in cervicogenic dizziness, let's start with the subjective exam features that we might find in someone that has cervicogenic dizziness. The first thing that I like to talk about is loss of hearing. If you've suddenly had dizziness and also had a loss of hearing that correlated with that same time as your onset, this may be something other than cervicogenic dizziness. For cervicogenic dizziness, usually this is a dizziness that comes on that does not have an obvious ear infection or hearing loss or some other type of brain injury when you get your dizziness. Pain in the upper neck commonly can cause headaches. So if you notice you're suffering 2, 3, 4 headaches a week and it started pretty around the same time that you started having dizziness, that is an important feature right there, because that would be kind of more classical with cervicogenic dizziness. Now, some of my patients, all of them have headaches and dizziness. Some might have headaches, some might have dizziness, some might have nausea. The upper neck can even trigger a TMJ type pain that can radiate down. But if you do notice you have several of those boxes checked, yes, I do get headaches sometimes, yes, I do get dizziness, yes, I do have obvious neck pain, those are the classic subjective features of cervicogenic dizziness. Another feature that we could look at is true vertigo. Usually lasts 30 seconds to a minute and it starts to subside with a severe spinning sensation. For cervicogenic dizziness, you might feel more of I just feel off, I feel a little off balanced. If I get up suddenly, I feel a little bit dizzy or off balanced. But these symptoms could come off and on all day long. It's not just a 30-second episode. So this can persist for minutes to hours to days to months. It can be very chronic, it can be pretty debilitating. So those are some subjective features that we might expect with cervicogenic dizziness. Over my 24-year career, I worked with so many patients that were told that their symptoms were just stress, anxiety, it was all in their head. In actuality, it was coming from their head and especially from their neck. That's why I've created this series, to guide you step by step with clear and effective exercises that really make a difference. Over the next 6 episodes, I'm going to show you how to restore proper neck function with gentle self-mobilizations, muscle activation, balance drills, eye-head retraining, etc. So stay with me, because in day 2, that's when the physical relief begins. Well, welcome to episode 2 of our 7-day Cervicogenic Relief Challenge. On this episode, I'm going to teach you one of my best techniques that I teach my patients every day that can give instant relief for cervicogenic headaches and cervicogenic dizziness. This particular technique targets the upper neck joints, C1, C2, and C3. Those joints, when they become stiff and sore and they're not moving appropriately, they tighten the suboccipital muscles at the base of the head. Those are the muscles that are rich with the proprioceptive nerves. On the first episode, if you haven't seen it, I'll put a link in it. But on the first episode, we talked about these proprioceptive nerves. In the first episode, we talked about how to recognize if you have cervicogenic dizziness or cervicogenic headaches, and how that you can tell cervicogenic dizziness from other common vestibular disorders like BPPV. So if you haven't seen it, check it out, watch it, make sure you don't miss any of the episodes. But on today's episode, I'm going to show you a technique that if you already have tightness in your upper cervical spine, how you can deal with it today. If your upper cervical spine, C1 and C2, I'll mention something about that. It controls about 50% or more of your rotation. So if you notice you have dizziness, headaches, nausea, and you can't turn your neck very well, let's say to the right side, or maybe when you turn to the right, it kicks off some dizziness. If that's the case, this technique can be extremely effective and, like I said, can give you some instant relief. As soon as you're done with the technique, you return and see if your dizziness is a bit better. I will mention before we show you the technique that not all physical therapy techniques work for everyone all the time. This technique has to be pain-free. It has to be dizzy-free. You have to go at it slow, and sometimes you have to fine-tune it to make sure you get the right spot. If you try it at home and it makes you feel worse, don't do it, discontinue, and check with your local physio in your town, and they might be able to guide you a little bit better. But let's get into the technique. So I'm going to take a medium-sized hand towel, and what I'm interested in is the selvage, right? The selvage. And then what I'm going to do is put the selvage right at the base of my head, and then I'm going to line it up with the tip of my nose, right? I'm going to change the camera setting to make sure it's a little more clear. I'll do that right now. All right, we've got the selvage or the sewn edge of the towel right at the base of my head, right where the earlobes are. And then I'm going to line this up with the tip of my nose. Down by the chin, it's too low. Up by the eyes, too high. We want the mid face, right? Tip of the nose. It might be a little bit lower the front row of teeth, but that's kind of where we want it to be. We're going to go with that same scenario that turning to the right is causing headache pain, or maybe it's causing dizziness. Or if you turn to the right to talk to your friends too long, it makes you feel pretty rotten. So we're going to try to correct that with this technique. I'm going to drop the right side of the towel. Then I'm going to feed the towel into my right hand. That's super important, that feeding it into the right hand. Then what I'm going to do is grab the towel here, make sure it stays in place. Very gently snug it up to my cheek. If it's not snug up to your cheek, it doesn't work as well. And then you let it rotate you to the right as far as you can comfortably without dizziness or tightness. As I mentioned before, it's crucial that it's dizzy-free, pain-free. If it's not pain-free, maybe you only rotate so far and you go, wow, I'm starting to get kind of a binding or tightness. Sometimes what you could do to troubleshoot is maybe move the edge of the towel up a millimeter or down a millimeter and then retry. The technique may still be effective, but maybe you're slightly off from where the towel should grab. But we want the towel to grab kind of near that top bone, the C1 bone. But if you get it right, essentially what's going to happen is the towel is going to grab your C1 vertebra and it's going to mobilize C1 onto C2. It's not a stretch. It looks like a stretch, but it's not. It's more like an osteopathic technique to manipulate C1 and C2 and to get it to move again. So on day one, the expert that invented this, his name was Brian Mulligan, famous therapist from New Zealand, and he would recommend, if you went to see him in his clinic, he would only have you do it about 2 times, and that's it. Then you would stop and then reassess to see if it was helpful. If you have less dizziness or less headaches, guess what? That was effective. If you find that this technique was helpful, you can advance this to up to 6 reps per session. And then you could do this 2 or 3 times a day as you feel fit if it's giving you relief. Some of my patients, they've told me I get headaches every day, I get dizziness frequently. really limited in their ability to turn. I show them this technique. They take the towel to work with them. They're trying it when they first get up in the morning. Their neck feels better till about 11 a.m. Then they do it again. And then sometimes 3 in the afternoon, they do it again. That was an arbitrary example of how someone could use this. And my patient comes back and says, instead of getting a headache every day, now I'm only getting one every 2 weeks. Ultimately, we need to get your strength, your control, your neuromuscular components working for you, and maybe address your posture as well for long-term relief. But for quick short-term relief, you can't beat it. It's a great technique. It's been clinically proven to give you relief right off the bat. I'm going to show you another variation. Let's say that you have dizziness or pain with looking up, and maybe that's causing headache or dizziness. If I take the same sewn edge, right, the selvage part, and I'm going to place it right about the C2 vertebra. Now, where's the C2 vertebra? If I run my finger off the base of my head, the first bump I feel is C1. If I go down about one more fingers with that big bump you feel right there, that's C2. C2 is very prominent. You can feel it sticks out more than the others. So very carefully, I place this at C2, and then I'm going to go up as far as I can comfortably without pain or dizziness, and then back. It's hard to tell from the camera angle, but I'm using very gentle pressure. I'm not pulling forward too strongly. I'm just stabilizing. Notice that the towel goes up as I go up. That's an important detail. Same scenario. Try maybe just a couple reps and then reassess. If you notice you now can go up better, less pain, less dizziness, fantastic. You can build up to 6 reps for this as well. In today's video, we're going to tackle episode 3 of our 7-day Cervicogenic Relief Challenge. In today's episode, we're going to discuss one of the most common overlooked causes of cervicogenic dizziness, your daily posture. On episode 1, we covered what cervicogenic dizziness is. We talked about things like proprioceptors. Proprioceptors are nerves that are embedded into the muscle tissue at the base of your head, and they're like GPS sensors that send information to your brain on where your head's at in space. It's a very important part of your balance and your vestibular system. If your upper neck is tight, it disrupts proprioception. In episode 2, I give you one of my best manual therapy techniques to do, the cervical snag. For C1 and C2, your top 2 vertebrae. I show you how to do it step by step. It's a great orthopedic manual therapy technique that should give you some instant relief. And that now leads us to episode 3, where now we're going to tackle our daily posture. So a person might ask, how did I get such bad posture anyway? You know, it's not hard in today's world. On average, most people sit 6 to 10 hours a day. Sitting in the same position for a long period of time without disrupting that posture can easily lead to stiffness. Certain muscles get weaker, other muscles get tighter. And a person might ask, so what does bad posture and dizziness have to do with each other? I would say that's a great question. When you're tight in the muscles at the base of the head, the suboccipital muscles, those are the muscles that are rich with those proprioceptive nerves that I mentioned earlier. That tightness disrupts proprioception, causes your brain to get misinformation about where your head's at in space, and that's going to lead to cervicogenic dizziness and imbalance. So let's get into our first exercise to start to correct forward head posture and take stress off those suboccipital muscles. Our first exercise is the McKenzie chin tuck. The famous chin tuck exercise is an exercise that addresses that forward head posture, right? You're sitting at your computer, shoulders and your foot head starts to go forward. That's going to put a lot of strain and stress on the joints. It's going to eventually lead to tightening of the suboccipital muscles and weakening of your deep neck flexors. So if you're in this posture day after day, hour after hour, eventually this is going to start to cause some problems. So let's look at a simple exercise to correct this. If you find yourself in this posture, step 1, you kind of grow tall with your lower back. So you're in a better posture with your lower back. Step 2, bring your chin straight back, almost like you were pulling a drawer that was on rollers and you're pulling it straight back. So you start to pull it back, and at the same time, as if a string was pulling up the back of your head, you slide it in. So now we went from way too far forward to almost chin slightly tucking in. So you might feel like you've made a double chin. At that point, hold it for a couple seconds and then you relax. Now your head may protrude back again forward. So you grow tall, slide it back, think about lifting up at the base of the head, hold that for a couple seconds and relax. And you would repeat this about 10 times. As you're doing this, it's stretching out those occipital muscles and it's stimulating your neck flexors a little bit at the same time. By the time you get to maybe your 10th one, hold it for 5 or 10 seconds. That's a great exercise. You could try this every couple hours. If you're working at your desk, try it for about 10 reps. Do this for a few days and you might find that just doing this one exercise already you're feeling a little bit better. But staying with that forward head posture for too long, definitely going to make your neck start to feel sore and this could disrupt your suboccipital muscles. So now let's look at exercise number 2. This one I call my postural correction exercise. So for exercise number 2, the postural correction exercise, we're going to look at a couple different phases. There's 3 phases for this exercise. The first phase is we have to address the lower back. If the lower back is slumped, right, that's our first area that we have to correct. So step 1, you grow tall at the lower back and you try to find what a neutral pelvis feels like. You might go too far in one direction and realize, okay, that's too far, and too much slumped, we obviously can tell that's no good. So you want to find a nice mid position by growing tall through the lower back. Once you nail that position, now what we're going to address is the shoulder position. Let's say you've got your shoulders way too forward, right? In that scenario, what you want to do, relax your shoulders, correct the lower back, and then slowly bring your shoulder blades back across your ribs towards your spine. This is a gentle effort. Once you get into this position, you would hold that posture for about 10 seconds. Okay. We've got the lower back corrected. We've got the shoulders corrected. We've got one more component that's pretty important. Now we have to correct the neck and the head itself. Oftentimes, especially if our neck flexors are weaker, we'll sit with our chin slightly up. Maybe you've seen yourself in photos or in family videos and you notice your chin's a little higher than normal. That's usually a sign of weakness of the neck flexors. So after we've corrected the lower back, after we've corrected the shoulder, now what you want to do is slowly lift the back of your head and bring your chin down to neutral at the same time. Then you would hold this posture, all 3 components, for about 10 seconds. That's a fantastic exercise. It stimulates your core lower back muscles by getting your pelvis neutral. It stimulates your mid-back postural muscles and it stimulates your deep neck flexors while relieving tension in the muscles at the base of the head. This can be a great exercise that you could try 3 to 4 times an hour. Maybe you set a sticky note on your monitor that says, hey, every 15 minutes, sit up and try the exercise. Do your posture correction exercise. You can put a message on your Outlook, an app on your phone, or if you get phone calls frequently, that would be a great cue for you to go into this posture correction exercise. Hold it for 10 seconds and then go back to what you were doing. If you're watching TV at home, maybe it's every commercial break. You sit tall and try that posture correction exercise. Now let's address our third component of helping our posture, which is correcting that thing that we sit at all day, our desks. Now let's talk about something almost all of us overlook, our desk setup. If you sit at a desk for school or for work or for even just browsing at home, it matters a lot more than we think. If you don't have the right chair, it's not giving you the right support, or if you don't have the right lumbar support, or maybe the monitor's not at the right height, it's going to lead to forward head posture, which is going to tighten those suboccipital muscles, disrupt those proprioceptors, and now we're back to being dizzy again. So even if you're doing the right exercises, maybe even going for walks during the day, but you're sitting for 10 hours a day in these bad postures, it could undo all the good that you've been doing. Here's how to fix it. Some simple things you can do right now to take stress and strain off your neck to reduce cervicogenic headaches and reduce cervicogenic dizziness. My production crew helped me set up a great clip where we're going to show you where the monitor should be, how your chair's set up, where your elbows should be, where your feet should be. Let's take a look at the clip together, right? Hey, whoa, hey, guys, that's not the clip. That's not the clip we discussed. Can you mind putting up the right clip? 1 second, I apologize. They'll put the right clip up. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. Production crew having a little fun at my expense. Okay, I think we got the right clip up. Yes, we do. All right, let's look at our clip here. We can see that the person's got their eyes set at the top of their monitor. That's where we want your eyes to be. That's going to help you keep that nice neutral posture. If you have more than one monitor, it's usually advised the monitor that you use the most, make that your center monitor. Okay, let's look at another part of this clip. Now we're going to look at the chair height. Chair height is important. You want to have your hips just maybe slightly higher than your knees. It could be equal to your knees, but we definitely don't want your knees higher than your hips. That's going to put your lower back into a bad position. Okay, now let's look at our next component. Our next component is going to be feet flat on the floor. That's important. If your feet are up, it's easy for your back to slouch. So if your feet don't touch the floor, a common thing that someone might do is maybe put a book or a box underneath their feet so you can get your feet to the ground. But if we can get your feet to the ground, it helps you use your feet to hold your posture a little bit better. Now let's look at elbow position. In this clip, we can see that the elbows are at like a 90-degree angle. If your elbows are at a 90-degree angle or slightly open, that's going to take stress off your upper traps. But if your elbows are up and your shoulders are up, that's going to lead to more tension into the neck. Lastly, let's look at lumbar support. We can see in our diagram here that we have a little bit of a pillow behind the lower back. You can get McKinsey lumbar rolls on the internet. You can take a throw pillow from your couch. But having that little bit of extra pillowing behind your back is going to put you into a little bit better posture. It's going to support the curvature of your back. If your lower back curve is right, it's also going to help your upper back and your neck curve. Super important. So there's a couple great tips. Give them a try. See how they make you feel. Usually within a few days of trying them, you should already start to feel some relief. Well, welcome back to day 4 of our 7-day Cervicogenic Relief Challenge. Today we're going to tackle something very critical that's often missed: eye-head coordinated activities. When your neck is sore at the base of the head, it could cause headaches, dizziness, and nausea, and it's going to throw off your ability to track objects with your eyes. If this is dysfunctional, you could feel dizzy, blurry vision, off balance, etc. So in today's video, I'm going to give you 5 of my best drills that will help your eyes and your brain and your neck connect again and decrease your cervicogenic dizziness. Today we're covering day 4 of our 7-day Cervicogenic Relief Challenge. And as I mentioned before, we're going to cover eye-head coordinated exercises. But before I teach you the 5 exercises, it's important to take a moment and figure out the point of the video. We talked in previous videos about neck pain, the base of the head, can disrupt what's called proprioception. That is your position sense awareness of where your head's at in space. That's a very important part of your balance system. So if that's tight and sore in your upper neck, it can disrupt those nerve receptors and make you feel dizzy or off balance. One of the things that this proprioceptive nerves do is they help you with what's called your vestibular ocular reflex. This is a reflex where your neck coordinating with your eyes and your vestibular system allow you to be able to keep your eyes fixed on an object while your head is moving. For example, if I'm looking at my thumb and I move my head to the right, my eyes will automatically, as a reflex, move to the left to keep my eyes fixed on my thumb. That's when everything's working well. But for that vestibular ocular reflex to work, and the neck needs to be able to function properly, the proprioceptive nerves need to be able to flow properly. Let's go with a scenario where your neck is sore. Maybe you've had long-standing chronic neck pain. Maybe you've had an injury. That's going to disrupt proprioception, and that's going to throw off your vestibular ocular reflex. Now we're in a situation to where if you're watching moving objects, maybe a tennis match, maybe you're in a car and there's moving objects going by, or there's just any scenario where you're moving your head around a lot and there's visual activity, this could leave you feeling dizzy, blurry vision, it could throw your balance off. If you've experienced those symptoms, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So research has shown if you have those symptoms, there are some drills that we can do to help improve those symptoms, decrease your dizziness, and decrease your visual disturbances. And that's what we're going to tackle in this video. So let's get into our first exercise. If you're at home, grab a chair, maybe a pen or a sticker that you can look at, and you can do the exercises along with me. Each exercise we're going to do is going to last about 30 seconds. So I'm going to grab a pen, and the first exercise we're going to do is where I'm going to look at the tip of the pen, and now I'm going to rotate my head to the right, but keep my eyes fixed on my target. Now I'm going to rotate to the left and keep my eyes fixed on my target. And I'm going to repeat this nice and slow. I want to make sure it doesn't cause dizziness. And I might do this for 20 to 30 seconds as long as it's not causing me neck pain, headache, nausea, dizziness, etc. At first, it's not a bad idea to start kind of a nice slow pace that you can tolerate. Later, as your neck recovers, there's always time to make it more challenging or to make it faster. Okay, so that's going to be our first exercise. If you go to do some of these exercises, I'll just say as a pro tip, and it's starting to bother your neck or give you a headache, don't worry. I'm going to put a clip up on the screen here, and you can connect to this video. This will give you some preparatory neck exercises to get your neck feeling a little better. And then as you're feeling better, you can jump back into some of these exercises. But if you can tolerate these exercises, not only are they going to help with your eye-head coordination, but they also strengthen your neck by nature, just the fact that you're moving side to side. Okay, now let's get into our second exercise. Our second exercise, I'm looking at the tip again. This time I'm going to go up, and then I'm going to slowly come back down, but my eyes are still focused on the tip of the pen. Same parameters as before. We're going to try this for about 30 seconds. We want to make sure that's not causing dizziness or neck pain or headaches. Again, if your neck is so sore that you can't do these exercises, check out the video that I mentioned, work on that for a few weeks, and then we'll come back. Okay, so now we've got our first two exercises. Now let's look at exercise number 3. For exercise number 3, it's going to be eyes first and then head. So I'm going to take two objects. In this case, I'm going to use my thumbs. Look to the right, and then I turn to the right. Look to the left thumb, turn to the left thumb. Look to the right, turn to the right. Look to the left, turn to the left. Look to the right, turn to the right. Okay, same parameters as before. Make sure it's not causing dizziness, nausea, or headaches. You can always adjust the speed to make sure that it's not bothering you. A great pro tip, instead of maybe holding my arms out, which could put some strain on my neck, I could always use maybe 2 cups on a desk that's eye level, or 2 objects on a wall that are eye level, and then I could kind of move between those 2 objects without putting the strain of lifting your arms. And that's going to be true for any of these exercises. All right, now that we've done that one, let's look at exercise number 4. Exercise number 4 is going to be what's called smooth pursuit tracking. So this time I'm going to move my eyes, but I'm not going to move my head. So it looks like this. It looks at maybe at the pin tip. I'm going to follow it as it comes out to the right. It's going to go up. It's going to come back down. And then it's going to come back over to the middle, right? So we start eye level, come out to the right, come all the way up, come back down, and then back. Now I'm going to do the other side. Come out, up, back, and back to the middle again. And we would do this drill for about 30 seconds. And that's a great exercise to start improving my ability to keep my eyes fixed on a moving object. Start slow, keep it dizzy free. Okay, now for exercise number 5, I'm going to show you a bonus exercise that's a little more of a progression on some of the other exercises. This exercise, what we're going to do is I'm going to have my thumb up and I'm going to rotate my head to the right while my eyes move to the left. Rotate to the left while my eyes move to the right. I never want to move my thumb past my ears. Keep it smooth, keep it steady, and this would be another 30-second exercise. There we go. Great exercise, a little more advanced than the other ones. Again, if it makes you feel dizzy or uneasy, go back to some of the easier exercises. Well, welcome back to day 5 of our Cervicogenic Relief Challenge. And in today's episode, what we're going to do is we're going to tackle a very important muscle group to improve your neck stability, and that is the deep neck flexors. I'm going to show you 3 great exercises that are research proven, and we're going to do it right now. For today's episode, we're going to tackle weakness in the muscles deep in front of your neck called the deep neck flexors. There's been tons of research studies that show if you have chronic neck pain, if you have neck pain that's causing headaches, or neck pain that's causing dizziness, this will weaken the muscles deep inside your neck, and that's going to be a big problem. The deep muscles in the front of your neck play a key stabilizing role. They help hold your head up against gravity. They prevent one vertebra from slipping too far forward or rotating or pinching. If you have very poor deep neck flexors, guess what? You're going to walk with your chin slightly up, which is going to put more stress and strain on your neck. It's going to negatively impact your posture. And if you got bumped suddenly, maybe you stepped off a curb and didn't notice it and you got a jarring action, those deep neck flexors are supposed to kick in immediately to protect you. Studies show there's delays, and when they activate, they don't protect you as well if you've had chronic neck disorders. So in this video, we're going to go over 3 exercises that have been research proven to give you some relief. Well, let's start with exercise number 1. This one's going to be an isometric. Before we get into our 3 exercises, I just want to say that not exercises work for everyone all the time. If you attempt some of these exercises at home and it makes you feel bad, of course, discontinue and check with your doctor or physio in your town. But if they agree with you, definitely give them a try. Consistency and practice, that's the key to success. Okay, for exercise number 1, we're going to call this a deep neck flexor isometric. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take a couple fingers, I'm going to slightly put it underneath my chin. And what I'm going to do is, the action would be my chin is slightly going down, right? If my fingers weren't there, my chin would keep going down in this direction. My fingers are going to block that action, and my chin starts to gently go down. My fingers go up, and the 2 forces cancel each other out, right? We've seen examples of isometric exercise in the past, like 2 hands are pressing, but there's no relative motion. This is a gentle exercise. We're talking 3% effort. Very light, my chin goes down, my fingers come up. I do this isometric hold it for 5 to 6 seconds, and then relax. And we would try to build up to 5 reps. Hold it for 5 seconds, and then relax. If you find that it's causing pain in the back of the neck, my first thing that I would say was just do a little softer. Sometimes just by changing the intensity of the exercise, it can make it more doable. Of course, if it's hurting every time, then we'll go to a second variation in a moment, and that might work better for you. But build up to 5 seconds, maybe 5 reps. Very easy exercise to do, and you can easily do this 2 or 3 times a day. Now let's get into another great deep neck flexor exercise. This one's going to be an active range of motion exercise. We'll get into that right now. For our second exercise, we're going to use an active range of motion exercise to facilitate turning on your deep neck flexors. Kind of looks like this. First, you maybe grow tall out of a slumped posture. Make sure you're sitting up nicely. Get your chin level to begin with. Step 1, you're going to start to bring your chin up as far as you can comfortably without causing pain or dizziness. And then once you get to the top of your motion, you tuck your chin in slightly and then slowly bring your chin back to where you started from. Make sure it's pain-free, dizzy-free, headache-free, right? I start to look up. Maybe I can only go a couple centimeters. That's okay. Then you bring your chin in and then bring your chin back down. Look up, slide up, Bring your chin in. That's going to activate your deep neck flexors. And then you bring everything back down. If you think of your deep neck flexors as maybe like some type of pulley, your neck flexors elongate in a controlled manner to let the weight of your head tilt back, and then they shorten to bring your head back down. So every time in a controlled manner you go up and you bring it back down, you're working those deep neck flexors. If you tried this one and you thought, gosh, that active range of motion component makes me feel dizzy or headachy, then maybe the isometric exercise I showed you on the first one, that one might be a little bit easier to do. But we're going to kind of look at maybe like an easy, intermediate, and a little more advanced. Build up to where you could do 10 reps, and this could easily be a 2 or 3 time a day exercise. Eventually, you might even get to build up to 2 or 3 sets of 10. Give it a try, put it in your routine. If it agrees with you, it's a great exercise, easy to do, doesn't require a lot of equipment. Now let's get into our third version of the deep neck flexor exercise. This one's going to be called the nod and hold. All right, for exercise number 3, we're going to get ourselves lying down. You can do this in your bed, you can do this on a yoga mat, etc. I've got a little bit of toweling. I made a little bit of a square so that my chin and my forehead are relatively level. If I don't have enough toweling, I might find myself kind of too far back, right? And then if you had maybe too much toweling, you might find yourself too far flexed. So get yourself comfortable. Then what we're going to do a nodding action, like I'm indicating yes. So I'm laying back, I look down at maybe like a 45-degree angle, maybe at some point above my knees. I can't really see the top of my knees, but I'm looking in that direction. And then I slowly and gently nod forward as if I'm indicating yes. Once I nod forward, I check with my hand to make sure that my muscles right here in the front, these big muscles that you can feel right underneath, I want to make sure that those muscles stay soft. This is a very slow, precise effort. I'm not lifting my head and I'm not pressing my head back. It's a very gentle exercise. I look down and I slowly, in a controlled manner, nod forward, make sure that my muscles are soft, and then I'm going to hold that for about 10 seconds. At the end of 10 seconds, I look back up and then I slide back up to my start position. Check my neck, make sure it's soft, look down, slide down. At any point that I feel my muscles are getting firm or tight, that's where I would stop nodding. Look down, slide down. It's a great exercise for activating those deep neck flexors. Build up to where you can hold this for 10 seconds. Rest for 3 or 4 seconds, and you could do this maybe 10 or 12 times. Great exercise. When you're laying down in the morning time, guess what? It's a great opportunity to try it. You're already lying down, or maybe in the evening when you're laying down to go to sleep at night, a great way to do it. Add it to your routine. It's been research proven to decrease neck pain, cervicogenic headaches, and dizziness. One of my favorites. Well, in today's video, this is going to be day 6 of our 7-day Cervicogenic Relief Challenge. Today's episode, we're going to tackle the cervical extensor muscles. We're going to talk about why they're important. We're going to give you 3 great exercises to strengthen them, and we're going to do it right now. We're going to look at a very important muscle group in the back of the neck called the cervical extensor muscles. Now, why are these muscles important? Great question. One important thing that they do is they help hold your head up into a nice posture. If you start to lose strength in the back of your neck, and you will if you've had chronic pain, or if you've had to lie down a lot because of dizziness or headaches, that will weaken this muscle group, and what's going to happen is your head's going to start to fall forward. We've all seen that person that has the really bad forward head posture that puts a lot of stress and strain on your joints and your discs when your head's tilted forward. One expert said for every inch that your head is forward, it's 10 extra pounds of stress on your neck. So if your head's really dropping forward, your muscles could be working 4 times harder than they need to be. That's going to put stress and strain on your discs, your joints, and your muscles. And if your forward head posture starts to get out of control, it will tighten muscles at the base of the head, called the suboccipital muscles, that can disturb dizziness and cause headaches. Another important thing that cervical extensor muscles do is they help stabilize your head through movement. When you're nodding forward or nodding back or side to side, those deep muscles in the back of the neck play a big role of stabilizing you against gravity and making sure that your vertebrae don't slip too far forward and end up pinching. If they pinch, they cause pain and inflammation. That could flare up the nerves. That could cause dizziness and headaches. So we can see this is a very important muscle group. Studies show if you've been chronically sore in your neck, I call them the big three. These are some of the big three problems you could have. You'll lose strength in your cervical extensors, you'll lose endurance, and you could lose timing of when the muscles are supposed to fire. When you go to reach for something, your brain is geared to where it turns on your deep stabilizer muscles first, and a few milliseconds later, then it tells your arm to reach. So if you're having chronic pain, all that kind of gets messed up. So in this video, I'm going to give you 3 great exercises to start getting your cervical extensor strength back, stabilizing your upper neck, preventing repeated facet joint impingement or pinching of the neck. This should lead to less pain, less headaches, less dizziness. Okay, before I get into exercise 1, as always, I just want to say, if you try the exercises, they don't go well for you, they make you feel bad, don't do it, and check with your doctor or your physio that you see locally. All right, let's get into exercise number 1. All right, for exercise number 1, we're going to start with exercises that are maybe a little easier, and then we're going to kind of go in an advanced direction. Well, if your neck's really, really sore, or maybe you have a really bad headache and you're real dizzy and you want to strengthen your extensors, but you're kind of nervous about doing too much, this could be a good starter exercise. I'll show you how it's going to work. You could be bellied up to your kitchen table at home. I'm going to lean over on my elbows a little bit, and I want to make sure that my shoulders are strong. If I'm too relaxed, my back will sag between my shoulder blades. So I want to gently press through my elbows to make sure that my middle back does not sag. Okay, now that you're in the correct posture, I'm going to curl my chin in and gently look down as if I had a book here and I was looking down to read, okay? So I get in the right posture, curl my chin in, look down, and then I carefully kind of uncurl my neck and come back up. I want to come back up to somewhere eye level, slightly downward. Since I'm already leaning forward, I want to make sure that I don't go too far up where I could put stress and strain on my neck joints. So I get my good posture, look down with my eyes, curl my chin and head in, slowly come back up. If everything goes well, let's do a set of 10 of this. This is number 2. Back, we're going to go all the way to 10. If you're at home, you could do this with me. 3, right, come in, 4. Make sure it's pain-free, make sure it's dizzy-free. Okay. All right, got a couple more. And then our last one. Great. All right, then you reassess, make sure you feel okay, make sure you're not too sore. Oftentimes, if your neck is tight, turning right and left, after you complete that exercise, you might already feel a little bit of an improvement where you can turn a little bit better. Now we're going to advance this exercise to exercise number 2, and we're going to do that right now. All right, for exercise number 2, we're going to get in a 4-point kneeling position. My wrist and shoulder is going to be at a right angle, and my knees and hips are going to be at a right angle. I want to make sure that my middle back is neutral. I don't want it to be arched. It's not the cat-cow exercise from yoga. I want a nice neutral spine. Now, just like the previous exercise, if I relax too much, my mid-back sags between my shoulder blades. So you gently press through the heel of your hands. Now you've got a nice contraction of your middle stabilizing muscles of your shoulder, like the serratus anterior. Now I'm going to do like before. I'm going to curl the chin in, and I'm going to look down in the direction towards my knees, and then I'm going to slightly uncurl, and I'm coming back. Now my eye gaze is maybe like right here. So I'm going to show you 2 different variations of this exercise. This first variation, I start with the weight of my head. Head could be 10 or 12 pounds. I curl in, I look down, and then I come back up. Make sure that you're curling your chin in and you're lowering in a specific fashion. You don't want to just drop your neck or let your neck hang. That doesn't feel quite as good. That's not going to be as great for sure. So you just curl in, you look down, same thing. Let's We'll say we've done 3 reps as we're demonstrating. Let's go ahead and knock out 10 of these. Now later in training, we could advance this by putting on maybe a light bicycle helmet. And that would be further into the training when your pain and your headaches and your dizziness is starting to subside. But for now, let's just train it with the weight of your head. All right, we get to where you can do about 10 reps. You can progress this to 2 or 3 sets of 10, and this would be a great once-a-day exercise. Now let's look at a third variation. A third variation, the first variation we would say is maybe really specific for the lower cervical extensors of the muscles in the back of the neck. Now for the upper cervical extensors, suboccipital muscles, we can do a second variation. Start neutral, and now I'm going to bring my head up like I'm slightly looking upward, and then I come back down. If this is painful, causes you to feel dizzy or headachy, skip it and go back to the first version. But if you can, start level, slowly come up, like you're curling up from that position, and then you come back down. And that's a great way to target the suboccipital muscles, those small muscles that crisscross C1 and C2 that are super important for dizziness and headaches. They'll definitely get weaker if your neck's been sore for a while. So we need to train it and get that strength back. Just like the other exercise, get to where you could do 10 reps, and then eventually get to where you could do 2 or 3 sets of 10. Nice once-a-day exercise. Well, congratulations, you made it to day 7 of the Cervicogenic Relief Challenge. That means you've probably already seen several episodes where you've learned some mobility exercises, some strength exercises, and some great eye-head coordinated exercises. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put it all together into one simple routine for you. Think of this as your go-to program that you can repeat anytime that you need some relief. So for today's episode, we're going to take all the lessons that we've learned in the first 6 episodes, and we're going to stitch it all together for an easy routine. The first thing that we want to do is look at mobility restrictions. If you have dizziness or you have headaches, and you notice you can't quite turn as far to the right, or maybe turning to the right makes you dizzy, let's look at a mobility exercise that's easy to do, that you can do right now. All you'll need to do this with me is maybe a medium-sized hand towel. If you want to pause the video and grab one, come right back, no problem. Okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to take the sewn edge of the towel. I'm going to place the towel right in the back of my head, right in line with the earlobes. Now what we're going to do, again, our scenario is dizziness to the right. To go to the right, I'm going to drop the towel onto my shoulder and release the towel. I now feed the towel into my right hand. This hand's going to hold the towel in place. Very gently, without forcing it, I don't want pain and I don't want dizziness, I'm going to let the towel guide me to the right as far as you can comfortably. Once you get to the end range, you come back. Try this anywhere from 2 to 6 times, and when you're done, recheck your range of motion to see if it feels more mobile, less dizzy, and less painful. This is a great exercise. I'll give you a pro tip. When you do this technique, make sure that you're not forcing your way through the range of motion. Gently go as far as you can, stop before you get any pain, and just think of it as when you do several reps in succession, that's where you're going to see your range of motion just get a little bit better each time. But that's much better than forcing it. I've had patients where they do this, doesn't go well. This is a great exercise. You can employ this 2 or 3 times during your day if you find that this is helpful. Another exercise that you can do if you find that your range of motion is limited is the McKenzie chin tuck exercise. And I'll show you how that works. What you can do is a test on yourself. If you notice that if you bring your chin straight back and you feel tight or painful in the upper neck, also you might notice, if that's positive, that bending forward could possibly cause dizziness. Okay, now we've got 2 positives. Bending forward causes dizziness, and retracting back causes tightness and pain. This is what you can do. Imagine your chin rolling straight back on rollers. You bring your chin slightly back, like you're making a double chin. You pause for a second and you slowly come back out. I'll show you from a side view. Slowly bring your chin in, hold for a second, and gently back out. You would repeat this about 10 times. Once you've completed this, reassess your bending forward and see if you now can do that with less dizziness. If it did work out for you and it's less pain and less dizziness, that's a great exercise that you can do. You could do this every couple hours as needed for a few days and see if that gives you some relief. Now let's talk about a couple strengthening exercises. The strengthening exercises are going to give you strength and protection, and now we're preventing episodes of your neck becoming tight. So let's look at two exercises that we kind of covered in the whole system here. We're going to look at something for the neck extensors, the muscles in the back of the neck, and we're going to look at an exercise for your neck flexors. Let's do that right now. Now let's look at an exercise to improve the muscles in the base of the head. The suboccipital muscles and the neck extensor muscles. They play a huge critical role in stabilizing your neck and decreasing headaches and decreasing dizziness. A good exercise to start with, maybe you go up to your dining room table, you lean over on your elbows slightly, keep your shoulders strong. You want to make sure that your mid-back doesn't sink down in between your shoulder blades. So you gently push through your elbows so you have a nice strong base. Now what I'm going to do is gently curl my neck in as I'm looking down, as if I'm reading a newspaper between my arms, and I slowly come back up. Make sure it's pain-free, make sure it's dizzy-free, but if you can pull this off, even the smallest range of motion, slightly down and slightly back, that is a great exercise to start to build up those protective muscles. A good way to start is maybe on your first day, you just do 5 or 10 reps. Give it a day and make sure it went okay for you. If it went okay, then you're going to build up to 2 or 3 sets of 10. This is a great exercise, easy entry-level exercise if you're having neck pain, headaches, or dizziness. Give it a try. Now let's look at an exercise for the front of the neck, the deep neck flexors. All right, to exercise the muscles in the front of the neck, the deep neck flexors, I've recruited a small bath towel. I'm laying down on the bath towel. I want to make sure that my head is level. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to palpate the front muscles, the superficial muscles that I can feel. You've got a big muscle here called the sternocleidomastoid. So what I want to do is make sure when I do this exercise that I don't feel the sternocleidomastoid overactivate. I want it to be soft during the exercise. So what I do is I look down, maybe at like a 45-degree angle, and I slowly slide my chin as if I'm nodding yes. What I should feel is the back of my head sliding on the towel. One of the biggest mistakes with this exercise that people make is they begin to lift their head off of the towel. That puts a lot of stress and strain on your neck, and that can definitely make your neck pain worse. If your neck pain's worse, your dizziness and headache's going to be worse. So totally relax your head. You don't want to lift your head. Instead of lifting, you want to look down, 45-degree angle, slowly in a gentle, precise way, slide like you're nodding yes. Make sure your muscles are soft. It's not tight. There's no pain. There's no dizziness. You hold that for 10 seconds. That's an important detail. That starts to build the endurance of the deep neck flexors. It needs to be a minimum of 5 to 6 seconds. You look down and you slide down. If I get to a point where I feel my muscles start to get really tight, then I back off a little bit. Look down, slide down, hold it for 10 seconds, and then back to a point right above the ceiling. So you can kind of get 2 orientation points, right above you and maybe down at a 45. Build up to where you could do maybe 10 reps, 10 seconds, take you 2 or 3 minutes to do. Do that in the morning time before you get out of your bed, and definitely do that before you go to sleep at night. So morning, you're already on your pillow. Night, you're already on your pillow. It's a great opportunity to do it. Definitely give this a go. It's one of my favorites. It's been clinically shown to decrease neck pain, headaches, and dizziness. Let's look at a few more exercises from the series right now. All right, now we're starting to build a program. We've got the mobility things that we looked at. We've got a couple strengthening things. Now let's go with the scenario that your neck pain is starting to decrease, your range of motion is improving, and your dizziness and headaches are starting to lessen. Here's a couple eye-head coordinated exercises that we could do to build on that. Make sure when you get to this section that it's dizzy-free, it's not making you feel too bad. If it does make you feel bad, you can always back up your plan back to the original exercises. Give it another week and then come back. But let's go with a scenario. You're feeling a little bit better. Let's go to the next stage. Here we go. One exercise I'm going to do. I'm going to take my pin here. I'm going to go slightly to the right and then maybe slightly to the left while keeping my eyes on the tip of this pin. A good pro tip for this exercise is instead of holding something up, which puts stress and strain on your shoulder and neck, find something that's eye level on the wall. It could be a sticky note, it could be a painting, whatever. You look at that point on the wall, and then you go a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left. It's a slow, steady pace at first because guess what? If you have cervicogenic dizziness or cervicogenic headaches, that means you've had a neck injury recently, and you don't want to make the neck go crazy at first. Build up to where you could do 10 reps, and you can easily build that up to 2 or 3 sets of 10. Another exercise that you could do if you find that looking at busy patterns makes you a little dizzy is the same scenario. This time my eyes are gonna move, but my head stays still, right? So I'm gonna follow it, and then I'm gonna follow it up, and then I'm gonna follow it down, and then I come back. Ready? I'm gonna move, follow with my eyes, go up, go back down, follow with my eyes, go up, go down. So I'm kind of making like an H pattern. Start with maybe a 10-second dose of this, and then build up to where you could do a 30-second dose of this. And this could be an exercise that you could do 3 or 4 times during the day. A great exercise to help you not feel so dizzy when you're looking at busy patterns. Well, congratulations for completing the 7-day Cervicogenic Relief Challenge. I hope the exercises worked for you, gave you some relief. I'd love to know in the comments how it worked out for you. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss a video on physiotherapy-related tips. Thanks for watching. It's goodbye for now, and we'll see you next time on Physio Tips Tomorrow.